one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of.
Do you feel sorry for Rachel Reeves? She hasn't.
No.
She has inherited a mess. She did inherit a mess. Granted, she doubled the national debt, but she's
done a good job. Zach Belansky calling reform fascist. It's all just a bit unhinged. I think everyone needs to sort of dial it down a little bit.
Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of the Daily Expresso with me, JJ Anisiobi. Today I'm joined by no one's fan favourite, Daily Express assistant editor, James Walker. James, how you doing?
You get a few
I'm not really interested.
No.
I'm not interested.
You get a
just
few
start the
good
show.
comments and it goes straight to your head. I saw you begging for likes last week. Just like, oh, everyone's been bullying me. Wah.
I had some horrible comments about me last week.
Quite right, you're crap.
Horrible. And I hate... You're crap. I hate to be the person to do this. I hate to big up myself, but you've said some lovely things about me this week. I'm going to read them out to all of you. Val Wilson, new favourite pod, 5 stars. 5 stars. Thank you, Val. Like and subscribe. Mary Anderson, all my fans are women. Coincidence? Mary Anderson says, this show is the best free show in this genre, and JJ is not talentless. He is great in this role, a perfect combination of being a real bloke, oi oi, and knowing what he is talking about. Also, he makes great telly. Thank you, Mary Anderson.
Is that one of your alt accounts? JJ, also known as Mary Anderson.
There were one or two people who disagreed with me. Frank Curtis said, JJ Anisiobi. Thank you for spelling my name correctly, though. Well done. Good start. JJ Anisiobi obviously is a complete woke liberal.
Here. Yep.
Yeah. Jeez Louise. I mean, people were even big in Europe, James.
Oh, really? What did they say?
There's one. We found one. We trawled through the thousands of comments. We found one.
Did he get any likes, the comment, or was it just...
No likes on it, but just one comment from...
Well, that's nice.
Julia Lacey said, James Walker, spot on. I don't even know what she's referring to, but she just put James Walker, spot on. Yeah.
Fair play. Well, thank you, Julia.
Yeah, that's the one person.
I'll take that.
What's your mother's name?
Hazel.
Oh. Right, let's get stuck into the main talking points that you've been discussing in the comments. As the week has progressed, China has dominated the headlines and the story has had you guys spitting feathers in the comments. The government is facing serious questions after a case against 2 men accused of spying for China collapsed just weeks before the trial was due to go ahead. Now, this has led to all sorts of allegations over cover-ups, corruption, dodgy deals, and yesterday, Esther McVeigh predicted it would lead to the downfall of Keir Starmer. But here's what you had to say. Dave Lordy, you said, spying for China, a state formally designated a threat to UK national security, breaking the Official Secrets Act, and undermining the security of the entire nation. Penalty equals nothing. Posting a tweet expressing outrage at the brutal killing of children, penalty equals prison. Another comment here from Euripides. They are about to make it very much easier for China to spy on everything dealing with UK security. The mega embassy by the Tower of London is alongside telephone lines and other communication sources used by the government. It is also a stone's throw away from Westminster Palace and Buckingham Palace. History has told us that the Trojan horse comes in many forms, cybersecurity being just one of them, which China are past masters at. James, how serious is this story?
It's pretty serious. I mean, you sort of saw Cummings' reaction. I mean, that was the sort of real standout thing yesterday. Cummings was saying that there's sort of the highest level of intelligence had been accessed by the Chinese. This is strap level intelligence. The government came out and said that was all a load of waffle, basically. But then they published their witness statements and they said that China had been regularly accessing sensitive level and secret level information. That's not quite as high as strap, but it's still like worrying that the Chinese are regularly accessing sensitive and secret information from the government. It looks terrible. They've come out with a sort of witness statements to make it like they're not covering anything up, but it still reeks a little bit, doesn't it, JJ?
It does, but equally, James, we do loads of spying ourselves all over the world. Ever heard of James Bond? Yeah.
I'm not sure it's necessarily that's fiction, by the way.
But seriously, it's tit for tat. We have spies all over the place. That's what we do. We have some of the best intelligence in the world. Yeah. So what's the big deal? China do it to us, we do it to China.
You make a good point. I think there's something that gets lost in all of the fury is that, like you say, we've been spying for yonks on who knows what. It came out, I think, was it in the Snowden files or WikiLeaks that America was spying on the Germans at one point? The Americans spy all the time. I would be very surprised if they're not spying on the UK now.
Yeah.
America is definitely spying on its allies. It has done for ages. Back in the 70s, you go back to the 70s, they were even trying to sort of say that Harold Wilson was a sort of commie plant. Basically, they're not known for not interfering in UK politics in spying. It is still bad, obviously, that China have that level of access to our secret files. They should be getting nowhere near that much sensitive information. But yeah, you have to sort of, like you say, take these things as they come. There's a bit of a balance there. We obviously do a lot of trade with China. They're crucial to the UK economy. We import tons from China.
Yeah.
I mean, how much stuff do you reckon in your house is made in China?
Most of it.
A large chunk of it. Your phone, probably. You got an iPhone, you were saying before we started.
Yeah, I've got an iPhone, yeah.
Probably made in China.
My wife was made in America, though, so that kind of balances it out, right?
But, China is crucial to the UK economy. Unfortunately, we can say what we like about that. I think that's probably a bad thing. We probably do need to uncouple like the Americans have. We're not as strong as the Americans. That is going to take time. And in the interim period, we're going to have to play things smart. We're going to have to be diplomatic. Can you go around calling China an out-and-out enemy, complete enemy of the state?
Yeah.
Tough. Diplomatically, that's really tough. If they cut off trade, we're in trouble. We're in real trouble.
You sound very sympathetic to the Chinese government, James. Are you now, or have you ever been a communist?
That was from my handler. He told me to say that. No, I mean, look, there's a serious point. We have to still be doing trade with China, at least for now. Do I think we should be moving away from importing loads of cheap goods and making things at home? Yeah. For sure we should. Trump's bang on with that in America as well.
Yeah.
They should be reshoring manufacturing. What will that do? That will cost more money.
Yeah.
As soon as you get, labour in the UK making stuff, that's going to cost a lot more. We have a low-wage economy. There's a lot of systemic shifts that have to happen before we can start cutting off China. You have to get the UK moving towards a high-wage economy that's producing its own stuff. We have no manufacturing base. Wages are through the floor. They've been stagnating for ages. That is a big, probably generational shift that's going to have to happen. Once we get there, yeah, we can probably look at cutting off the Chinese entirely and sort of creating our own sort of blocks, spheres of influence, the West doing its own thing, the East doing its own thing. But until then, we've got to be careful. Still, there are still some questions to be answered here. It's strange they weren't prosecuted. It's still very strange.
What is China's agenda here?
What's China's agenda?
Yeah.
In terms of
like, if they are spying on us, which I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, they want to see what we're thinking, right? In terms of strategy, what things we have in the pipeline, what infrastructure we're planning on, just sort of what's going on behind the scenes in other diplomatic talks, so they can preempt what's going on. It's just standard, like you say, standard spying. Standard. We'd probably do the same to other countries. We're probably doing the same. I'd be surprised if we're not doing the same in China, frankly.
Pretty sure we are.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of standard practice. Obviously, our systems should be much tighter, but they're not getting so much access to this information. I think what's scary is, even if Cummings is wrong about the strap intel, I don't know if he is. Honestly, none of us really know.
Yeah.
The government deny it, but just being able to have that level of access to sensitive and secret information, that is bad enough alone. If they're regularly, routinely accessing that, something needs to be done still. We don't necessarily have to cut off a relationship with China, but we do need to tighten up that security.
Who would be the better spy out of you and me? I think it's me.
I think we'd both be pretty hopeless. You'd be dreadful.
I'd be better than you, because I'll tell you why.
One of your weird margaritas he orders margaritas, right, without ice and without salt.
Yes.
You get one of those down you, and you'd be blabbing.
You'd
be blabbing. You'd be shot within about a week.
Look, I masquerade as a below average podcast presenter.
Yeah.
When I'm actually a very intelligent journalist.
Sure.
So
we do an IQ test after this. 109.
Another story that has had our inbox bursting at the seams has been Rachel Reeves' admission that she will be raising taxes in her budget. This is despite Labour's election pledge not to do this. Now, naturally, this has left quite a lot of you rattled. Here's what you had to say. Simon Miller, you wrote, "Incompetent idiots is an insult to incompetent idiots." Oh,
Simon, nail on the head.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
burn. Ouch.
Brilliant.
Carol Cloak says tax rises equals people not spending money, therefore economy goes down. Well, yeah, she's basically correct with that.
She's got it bang on. What Rachel Reeves was trying to blame this week, what she's trying to blame Brexit first. That was the first one she tried to blame.
Word, yeah.
Then austerity, going way back at that point, over a decade ago.
Liz Truss.
And then, of course, Liz Truss mini budget. Look, I'm sure these things aren't helpful. Let's be honest. They're probably not helping you move the dial. But still, she's got stuff to answer for. This it came out earlier this week that unemployment is at its highest level since the pandemic.
3,000 people every day signing up for unemployment.
Yeah, who did that? Her.
Yeah.
With her national insurance tax hike. I mean, that was such a massive unforced error. She's got everything to answer for there. That's terrible. Welfare is going through the roof. Who's to answer for that? Again, it's Labour MPs. They don't want to cut welfare. They brought that welfare reform bill to Parliament and backbench weren't having it. Those were fairly mild reforms.
Yeah.
You know, there is a huge unemployment spending bill. 1.7 million, I believe, are on out of work sickness benefit. Sorry, no, 4.2 million on out of work sickness benefit. That's a record high. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really that's a massive bill running up. Also, you know, they went after winter fuel payments. They're not going to make me popular in the Express office, I'll tell you this now. They went after winter fuel payments. They rode back on that. There's another thing sat right there: state pension. The state pension bill is huge.
It is, but unfortunately, I think we're always going to have to defend our pensioners. Always. It seems wrong to me that we would be punishing people who have spent their lives working and now are struggling to survive on their meagre pensions.
We don't have to punish them. We don't have to cut the state pension. We don't have to reduce the amount. We don't have to sort of go into deflationary. But the triple lock has been a unique, very, very, very favourable terms. But in a period of record low inflation and interest rates, they're getting the best possible markups for about a decade.
Yeah.
Now inflation's set in. I think we probably need to. We're looking to balance the books. That's probably an area where you don't have to be hugely punitive, but you can roll it back a little bit to save. And you're talking about saving like tens of billions by doing that.
Yeah.
That's, that might be necessary. I think really first though, we should be going for the out of work sickness benefit. There are so many people, 4.2 million working age people on out of age sickness benefit. That's just sad. That's just really sad.
I made this point earlier this week on one of the shows. I think it was with Cal. Actually, it was Cal Malone on Wednesday's episode, and I said that I agree with Nigel Farage on this, that we don't need to have MPs in the cabinet. The people in charge of the department should be the experts. Our own columnist Harvey Jones, a financial whiz kid,
Chancellor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chancellor of the
He's a
Exchequer.
financial whiz kid.
He's brilliant.
He understands how to make growth.
Yeah.
He's worked in finance. He knows how these things operate. They're the people who should be in charge, not
completely.
Rachel from accounts, who seemingly has made a mess of things.
I think that's one of the best ideas that's come out in the last sort of 5 years or so. You're completely right. That's how the US runs.
Yeah.
The US gets people who are working in the field. Elon Musk was the most recent obvious example. They get people who are working in the field who are driving growth as entrepreneurs, whatever it may be, and they can go into the system and go, while I was starting my business, I encountered all of these problems. We need to strip back all these problems and we'll get higher growth. That's exactly the sort of route we're going down. And I think, it's probably quite wise that Reform are saying they're going to, get people from outside to stuff their cabinet. I don't, Lee Anderson seems like a great guy. I don't know if I want him to be Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'm sure he'd probably say the same thing. I'm not sure he's necessarily up to Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Who else
He'd
would
be a
you
great DWP maybe, but nothing beyond that.
Who else would be in your dream cabinet? Would you have Jeremy Clarkson at DEFRA?
Jeremy Clarkson in DEFRA. Who would you have in DCMS for culture, media, sport? Would you go for a footballer or would you go for someone sort of like high-minded culture kind of guy?
Yeah, I'd go and get Gary Lineker. Give him a job.
Leave your thoughts in the comments. You're going to get roasted again.
Do you feel sorry for Rachel Reeves? She hasn't.
No.
She has inherited a mess. She did inherit a mess. Granted, she doubled the national debts, but she's
done a good job.
But she did inherit a mess, and it was always going to be tough for whichever party took over. It was always going to be a difficult.
Look, it's tough. The sympathy doesn't really go that far, to be honest. I mean, your Chancellor of the Exchequer, you've got a job to do. Granted, she would have a tough job to do. No matter what, she would have had a tough job to do. There are big things that are probably going to need to be cut. Things that are going to need to change that really no one can avoid. So yeah, she's going to have to do those things. It's not going to make her popular. But I don't feel sorry for her because she's refused to do any of it. She's refused to do any of it. She's done these meagre efforts. She's gone after wealth creators. I mean, the NI thing is just inexcusable. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. I had a mate. He works for this company, sort of medium-sized company. The entire time they've existed, they have never done anything less than break even. And that's really good. You think company at first year break even, that's great. They've run a profitable company for the last sort of decade and a bit. This year was the first time they ran into a loss because of the NI.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first time ever, they've not been able to give staff inflationary pay rises, and that's going to knock on. That's going to be in several businesses. That's going to knock on through the system. That's going to be lower tax receipts. That's going to be less growth. It's completely unforced error, and she refuses to do the hard task. So yeah, I don't have much sympathy, even if she does cry.
A story that got a lot of feedback from all of you was our report of a Reform councillor being assaulted. George Finch, the 19-year-old Warwickshire council leader, said he was called a racist and fascist before being physically attacked by a man as he walked through Nuneaton town centre with a female friend. Now, Nigel Farage has since blamed Keir Starmer's disgraceful rhetoric on what happened, and we had tons of comments on this story. Maxine says, what happened to George Finch is outrageous and an utter disgrace. He's doing a great job as Reform Council leader. Obviously, that's the problem for the far left. They should hang their heads in shame. Thomas Newsham said, if Nigel Farage is an enemy of the country, where does that put China? And Northern, yes, that was a Trump impression. And Northern Soul says, the irony of Farage calling out the far right, think he means far left, and crying when Reform people get attacked in the street is off the scale. Let's start with that one. I've made this point before. Some of Farage's rhetoric has put some people at risk in this country before. I certainly do think so.
I don't think so. I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't think so. I think sort of saying that migration numbers need to come down is fairly common sense. I think basically.
No. But you're picking that statement. I'm saying him putting up a massive billboard of brown faces and going on TV and saying we're being invaded. There's an invasion. That I think in the past has caused issues for.
I mean,
for
you could say the language. You could say the language is too far, but I mean, when you look at the numbers, what happened?
What happened?
Like tons of small boats coming over. We're getting net migration of nearly 1 million a year, largely coming from places that need asylum, Middle East, etc. Like and all the knock-on effect that's had in the UK. There's issues around the Epping Hotel, the girl who was assaulted.
Yeah,
numerous such cases. I mean.
But his rhetoric, his choice of words, it's different. Him going on TV and saying, you know what, there's a problem with immigration here. We need to tighten borders, blah blah. But going on and making it sound that every asylum seeker is dangerous, every asylum seeker coming here is a criminal. That has caused problems.
I don't think he's saying that now, though. I mean, maybe in the past he's used some careless things. I don't think he's saying that now. I think what he's saying now is quite measured. I think he's moved more towards sort of sensible ground on the issue.
So is it hypocritical for him to now be saying, well, I used to say those things, but I don't say them now. But
I don't think
someone's saying that we're fascists and now we're all being attacked. Sorry, Nigel.
I don't think you're completely without a point. I would say on this, I think I agree with the commenter who said it was a disgrace. This kid was attacked. We should go back to the kid. Poor guy. He's like, what, 18?
19 years old.
19 years old, getting attacked in the street. I mean, it's awful. No one wants to see that. And Keir Starmer was probably a bit careless in some of his language. I think especially his outriders like David Lammy saying what Farage was flirting with the Hitler Youth and always talk of them being fascist, like Zach Polanski calling Reform fascist. It's all just a bit unhinged. I think everyone needs to sort of dial it down a little bit. That said, I would say there's something to what you say in that I don't want to see the right doing what the left did and becoming too sensitive around language and kicking off, because that's exactly when the left completely lost their audience. When they were whinging about people's statements, when they were crying over language, what happened to the left?
Yeah.
They got completely emaciated. People there's a certain degree to which, some of this stuff is awful and no one should be getting attacked in the street. There is also a line to which you got to say, look, we have free speech in the country. If people want to call you a fascist for holding what I would call common sense, right-wing beliefs, they should be acceptable. They should be allowed. If people want to call you a fascist, you've got to take it on the chin. To a degree, you've got to take it on the chin and be like, right, you're an idiot. You're completely wrong, but I'm not going to throw my toys out the pram and cry about it. If you get attacked, that's a different story, obviously. Like in the case of this kid, it's terrible. What happened to him shouldn't have happened, and I feel really sorry for the guy. But going back to the sort of point on language, we have to be a bit too careful. We can be a bit careful on the right, I think, about going where the left went and whinging about language too much.
Yeah, because this week we saw a man with a machine gun, a rifle tattooed on his face, sent to prison for threatening to kill Nigel Farage. And that man is an immigrant. Once he gets let out of prison, are we going to be able to deport him? Probably not.
Oh, probably not. He's actually asked for it as well.
Yeah.
I remember it was about a decade ago, actually, I was working on a story about this guy who was a migrant who was in prison and said he wanted to be deported back to, I think it's somewhere in Eastern Europe, I think maybe Hungary. And he couldn't do it. They can literally ask to be deported and it won't be done. It's insane. And the case of that guy with the machine gun on his face threatening Farage, that's obviously not in the realms of free speech and normal conversation. That's just mental. That's crazy. And people like that should be locked up for saying what they said. But I mean, you can't deport anyone in this country anymore. They can ask for it and it'll still be like, no, sorry, human rights. Well, crazy.
Thank you, my fascist friend. Now, finally, one of my favourite stories this week, and one that I think you all enjoyed too. It was all about the lazy, spineless, feckless, can't be bothered, matcha drinking, avocado buying Gen Zers. My blood is boiling just thinking about them. Basically, there was a study that said 70% of managers, like me,
Jesus.
are struggling to handle junior staff due to unrealistic expectations and different attitudes to authority. Here's some of your opinions on the matter. Anna Sutor said, Gen Z may be more fragile, but they are lively and tenacious enough to go on free Palestine marches with minimal knowledge of all the issues. Work shy, but protest fit. Very good at it. Very good, Anna.
Funny comment, to be fair. Yeah.
Very good. LCAP said, from what I've seen, it's not that they don't want to work. It's more the fact that there's nothing to work for/towards. Can't build any wealth, so what's their purpose? Just rent for life, work for life, and create what to pass on, ? All they ask for is a fair chance to get a house. You got a house because it was less than £10,000 for a 3-bedroom house, which was 3 to 4 times your yearly salary. Now you are talking 8 to 9 times the average salary with bills at record highs, even compared to the rest of the world. They are looking to the future and thinking, really? Is this what kind of setup you give us? Well, so I know, I completely disagree with that one. Completely disagree with that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a boomer. I don't even own a home.
You were on the housing market when they were going for about 10p and a broken Xbox controller for a 3-bed house.
Here's the thing. You can go, there's plenty of areas of this country where you can go and buy affordable housing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I have to live in a big city because of my job. I've got no choice. I feel that Gen Zers, they want everything too easily.
No. I think if you're in London, like us, working hard, like me, maybe not you. You're working hard, you're earning your way, you're paying your taxes, you're doing everything the system says you should do. You should be able to afford a bloody house. It's not insane a thing to ask.
It is
for.
in central London.
It's well, not in central London. Yeah, if you want to live in, I don't know, like Piccadilly or Soho, then yeah, okay, like get off your high horse. You got to really earn big bucks.
You maybe
for that,
have to go and live further outside. Maybe you got to live in Reading.
Zone 2,
or
Zone
Watford.
3 is unaffordable. I'm looking for a house.
Yeah, of course you are.
Looking to buy a house with...
here we go, boomer. Did your parents give you that money, did they?
No.
Yeah.
No, I earned it. Look, I'm looking for a house now. I'm looking at sort of Zone 4, Zone 5 London. Guess what 600k gets you in somewhere like Crystal Palace?
Crystal Palace is a lovely area. So
it's a nice area.
It'll probably get
you
a two-bedroom flat.
2-bedroom flat with a garden for 600k. Not a garden, half a garden.
Yeah.
For 600k.
Well, that's London.
Wild.
Then take your 600k and go into the sticks instead. Go to Watford.
It's boring though.
Go to Milton Keynes. This is my point. This Gen Z group, they just want everything now. Sorry, life is hard. It's the same for all of us. Life is hard for all of us. Unless you're a boomer, life is hard for all of us.
Life is hard, but there's like different gradients. I mean, like for our parents, for instance, I look at what my parents did. They worked hard. They got a 3-bed semi in Surrey for, I think, about 65k at the time. That's very affordable on the wages of the day. Like they had to work hard still, and obviously it wasn't easy, but it's achievable. I think what the system we've got at the minute, it's not even achievable. Like you can work really, really hard. You can make big money.
I think it's achievable in certain areas. I think if I was to buy a house, in the outskirts of Leeds, I think that's achievable.
The question is then, what is the purpose of London? If London is not existing to house the people that make it work and who make it a lively place to live, who make it a fun place to live, who give it all of that sort of energy, who's it for? Is it for is it just for property speculators? Is it for Chinese investors? Is it for Saudi investors?
London,
or just to sit there empty?
London is for the native Londoners, the people who bought houses here decades ago, and they'll pass it on to their kids. For younger people, you're gonna have to just rent, unfortunately. And there's an obsession in this country that they don't have in other countries. In France, it's not a big deal to be, we must buy a house. Lots of people rent until they're dead. They rent, and actually, it's a bit like you hire a car instead of owning the car. There's a lot of benefits to renting rather than to own the property outright yourself. Now, you may not have nothing to leave to your grandkids or whatever else, but so be it. Unfortunately, this is life. If you get to age 35 and you've been living in London your whole life and you've been renting, and you get to 35, you're like, actually, I want to buy a house. I can't stand not owning a house. Cool, mate. Go out. I keep saying Watford, Milton Keynes. Go there and get yourself a nice little 2-bedroom house out of the sticks. You're going to have to commute back in. Well, I'm Gen Z. I shouldn't have to commute. I should be able to just walk to work.
Well, it's all the added cost of the commute, though. You have to bear that in mind too. But look, the houses outside of London are also really expensive. I mean, even you could sort of go to Surrey, Watford, Sussex, wherever, you're still not going to get very much for your money. I think that's the point people are making. You have to make insane amounts of money now to afford just even a very basic standard of living on home ownership. Margaret Thatcher understood that that's a problem, right? She's not exactly a lefty, what is it, matcha drinking,
avocado
wokey,
eating,
avocado sucking, whatever. She's not a wokey, right? She's not a wimp. Like Margaret Thatcher's
she's not.
But she understood that home ownership is an incredibly important thing for people to be able to strive for.
So
and
build, baby,
it
build.
gives people a basic bit of motivation to go out to work really hard, just to afford even just the basics in life. As long as it's not asking for much to have the basics in life, a home to call your own. That's not that much to ask for, JJ. I know you want to be like the French. You've been to Paris recently or something. Or what's the obsession with the French?
If you're telling me that Gen Z are refusing to take criticism, refusing to work proper hours because they can't afford to buy a house or have the prospect of buying a house, then that is completely and utter tosh.
Who said they're not working proper hours? I mean, we work with Gen Z people. I think they work pretty hard.
Listen, there's some Gen Zers who work very hard.
The Daily Express offices, right?
Yes, in Daily Express, yes. Here, there's some who work very hard. There's also some Gen Zers who, when it gets to 4 p.m. and the shift's finished, they're out the door. When it gets to when it gets to
I do that, to be fair.
When it gets to 3:30, they're like, I can't take another story, actually, boss, because I need to leave bang on time today. It's like, so what are you gonna do for half an hour? Just twiddle your fingers. No, I'm not having it. I'm having you coming on here defending Gen Z. I know you agree with me as well. So leave your comments in leave your comments in the comment section and tell me if you agree with me. Gen Z are lazy, entitled. They're spending money on avocados and matcha coffees and vintage clothing and all that kind of rubbish. Or do you agree with James, the fascist, the straight talker? Do you agree with him? Really? Pathetic. James, anyway, thanks for coming on the show today.
Lovely to be on the show, labelled a fascist and a wokey avocado eater at the same time. Somehow those two things can exist in the same person.
Yes.
Thanks, mate. Pleasure to be on once again.
Thank you very much. And please do tune in on Monday, where we'll be going through all the big stories of the day. And leave your comments. Tell me what you want to talk about. Ask me questions about journalism. Ask me questions about Gen Z if you want to. No, don't ask about Gen Z. Anyway, thank you very much, and bye-bye.